Flame.
Mickey.
Welcome back to the MikiDZ podcast, episode 77.
Yeah.
77.
7.
2 episodes away from the end of the year, fellas.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
How's that feel?
I mean, let's just get 2020 behind us already.
Man, I'm saying, man.
Yeah, that little chuckle you heard, you might see him at the bottom of the screen, right, left, center. We're not sure where he's going to be placed. We got DJ Spryte in here. I mean, he's not in here. He was supposed to be here, then we just thought it'd be safer and
we gotta
just
be
keep him home.
responsible.
We got to be responsible.
So.
And it was just smart for him to stay home. So yeah.
We gonna make this a tradition now. Every year, at the
he's
end of
got a
every year, we're
residency.
gonna have
Every year we're
gonna have Spryte on.
Spryte, add this to your list of residencies.
You got to keep one of them.
There you go. Now I got one. Now I got one residency for next year.
Hopefully next year you already got your 2021 residency. Congratulations.
All we got to do is get our budget up now. So
yeah, you're just a short drive away. You'll be here next year in the flesh.
We'll give you
2021.
we'll give you a per diem from the house, a Postmates credit,
and some high pH water.
Right? Hell yeah.
But yeah, Rell's actually fresh off a very big weekend in his life.
Yeah, man.
Now, hold on. Flowers to my man. Go ahead and tell people what's been going on.
You go ahead and tell people, man. I like the way you be introducing you, rolling it out.
Unfortunately, my man was supposed to. And no, hold on. Let me.
Go ahead.
What a terrible role.
Actually, it's not funny, but it's funny that Spryte's in this because he's another victim of having his wedding pushed back as well. Well, we'll get into your situation, Spryte, but. Rell was supposed to get married in it was Cabo.
It was originally Tulum. Actually,
before the influencers.
See, you know what I'm saying? I was ahead of the curve.
Rell was ahead of the influencers.
Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? But
so he's supposed to get married in Tulum.
You're supposed to flatten the curve, man.
Yeah, exactly.
He's like, all right, COVID's here. We'll adapt. We'll pivot, and we'll have it in September in LA. Make it a little more intimate.
No. In September, we were actually going to still have it in Tulum.
Right. Oh, right. You're pushing it back.
We were just pushing the date back. And then from there, they completely. So the issue was in June was us leaving the U.S. to go to Mexico, and then in September they shut down, or there was rumors of them shutting down the Maya Riviera, the whole border situation or whatever. We didn't want to deal with that. We had people traveling from both coasts of the country and whatnot and stuff like that. So we decided just to put it on hold as far as going to Tulum and traveling or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
So then we were going back and forth about dates and whatnot and when we were going to do it. And one day we're open, next day, 1 week we're open, the next week we're not.
Yeah.
You know, everything in LA is obviously, as you know, we keep discussing it on this podcast that we don't know what the fuck was going on. So one day I just woke up and I just said, you guys know that 12 was my number and you know, DJ Rell 12 on all my social media shit. And I just woke up and I said, babe, whatever the day 12/12 falls on, that's the day we're going to do it. We're just going to get a small group of people. We're going to do like an elopement type of thing. It's not going to be the official. We didn't want to call it the official wedding because we still wanted to have our wedding where we invited everyone that we originally were going to invite to Tulum and stuff like that to come and celebrate with us. But we just wanted to be married, get, you know,
from the legal side.
From the legal side. You know,
we got that covered.
Yeah, exactly. Get the legal portion out of the way, reap the benefits of being legally married.
Yeah,
because, man, I learned there's a lot of tax breaks and shit and whatnot, so I wish we just did this shit a long time ago.
Don't let me find out Andy how to roll.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. I'm like,
hey,
man.
Get married this year.
Hey, listen, Andy, shout out to Andy, man, because he put the bug in my ear.
Joe, there's still like 10 days left.
So with all that said,
you like them tax breaks.
So with all that said,
I do.
Yeah, we went ahead and we did it, man. Shout out to everybody that helped us make this possible because we did this in like a really, really, really short amount of time. And it was special, man. You know, shout out to my brother Andre Cox. He was there. He helped out a lot for us to get it done. And, you know, everyone out there that was originally, like, you know, Joe said earlier, Spryte was another victim of this. You know, he's an engaged man that was planning on getting married in 2020. And because of COVID, you know, people either had to cancel or postpone their wedding. And we went, even though the city was on lockdown, and I reached out to the city because we did it at Angeles Forest. national forest or whatever. I contacted the city. I said, listen, I got this amount of people. Do I need a permit? Like, what's the deal? She says, no, you got a small group of people. You don't need a permit. Just don't have, 15 cars up there or whatever. If you're going to have 12 people up there, we don't need 12 cars or whatever up there. Please just ask people to carpool. Perfect. We went up there. It could not have been more better than what we envisioned. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It was just clean. It was smooth.
I'm going to argue if we were there, it would have been better. But
I agree, man. No, I'm not going to lie. A lot of people were like, yo, what the fuck? But because of COVID and because of all that, like, we couldn't invite everybody that we really wanted to invite. Yeah. We wanted to cap it at 20, but they were like, that's just too many. Yeah, Even though it was outdoors, we made everyone get a COVID test. We were going to suggest people get, wear a mask and do all that stuff, but they still said like 20 people was just too much. So we were like, all right, we got to cut it down to a certain amount of people. And that's what we did, man. We made it happen. But shout out to all my people that got the original invite. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. It's coming.
It's coming. Don't worry. It's coming. We're going to show out, man.
For comedy style, how many people were there so we know where we stand in the...
And am I number 21? Is Mickey number 21?
Did we make it into the
what was it?
roster?
It was like 12?
Well,
yeah.
Right, so I think
15 if you
count... So we're coming off the bench if we're playing football.
15 if you count the videographer, my boy KG, who was the officiant, and...
Oh, no, you weren't the videographer. I'm just talking shit.
No. Well, they were originally... Hits Only was originally going to do it, but then our homegirl, Lauren, her boyfriend, he works with like a huge artist and stuff like that, and he offered to do it for us. So, and I thought that would be great, and that would allow, Andre and Erica to just enjoy the actual ceremony as opposed to have to work. So, like I said, 12, 13 people, 15 max that we had. Yeah. And that's including like, we hired Rachel to be a bartender.
Oh.
Yeah. So like, she was like the 15th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
we're 16, 17.
Yeah.
I can live with that.
I could have put y'all to work if it would have been there. You know what I mean? Like,
two birds with one stone.
Yeah, right.
I mean, how much would you been paying? Yeah.
See, Joe, this is why we don't get invited to anywhere.
Because I'm asking.
Yeah, you asking the wrong questions in a desperate time.
This is why Joe.
I remember.
This is why you're not getting invited nowhere.
I remember Rell said he was going to get married in Tulum, and I was just on a weekend. I was like, "You motherfucker! I work on the weekend, right?" Like,
and it was in June.
It's only like 4 weekends.
It was in June.
Month.
It was in June. Drake. It was like prime time for DJs. I was like, everybody's gonna be hot with us.
And then Spryte said, "Yeah, we're gonna do it on Sunday." I was like, finally somebody that gets me. But yeah, so Spryte, tell us about what you're going through, or what's the move for your guys' wedding?
Well, same thing happened. We had ours, I believe it was in June or July, and they tried to move us to like September, October, similar thing, the venue, and I was like, I just don't know. So we pushed it a full year. So it's going to be this June or July. I forgot the exact date, but yeah, no, I mean, we had to fight to get our money back and all this stuff. And
oh man,
thing moved. Yeah. They weren't even going to do it for a while. They said that we'll move it to like October, and we're going to let you have half the guest, and you have to pay extra money. And then luckily my girl works for the news, so she like pulled like, this is the kind of shit that we do stories on. We're going to bust you out. And so what happened was then they were like, okay, cool. So they gave us the full thing, but we pushed it a full year because I was nervous about, if we would have pushed it to think about October, it would have been the same shit.
Yeah.
We have this big venue, and we plan on at least 100. We paid for 100 people, open bar, all this stuff. And,
indoor?
Well, there was 2 venues, so it is outdoor, but still, I don't believe you can still have that many people for an event.
Outdoors,
I don't think it's still allowed. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, you got to move it back like the rest of us. Andre Cox as well. Or
Spryte, are you doing yours in 2021 or 2022?
2021.
Okay.
So yeah, and you guys are all invited.
So I gotta ask you guys, the to be married. Well, actually, all of you, I guess, right?
We are, yeah.
But
gang.
But with Spryte actually having a date, Rell actually having a date, did you feel more pressure from yourself or from your significant other
to
get married, like to make the push
to get married?
Like the whole, I'm saying like the date and getting it done or getting.
I actually had my own planned out. Well, why would you not?
I mean, I think.
Difference?
I think
no, because
are you saying
push it?
Are you saying because of COVID, do we feel more pressure?
White privilege.
Are you saying because of COVID that we feel pressure?
No, because like you didn't get to do it the way you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
I think is maybe a better way of describing it.
Okay,
So
yeah. I felt more pressure to give her day, so I was pressured to like find a date where, because it was with on top of everything else going on with COVID and all the feelings and emotions that were going on. I'm like, yo, I got to make this happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I told her, I said, yo, we can get married in a fucking alley. I personally don't give a shit, but I know for women,
It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah,
A lot of alleys in the valley.
listen,
I
bro,
got one.
listen here, listen. Well, I say we can get married. So we can get married at Mac Park.
There's some bushes, man.
Listen, we sneakerheads. But I felt like for her that would have been something. That was something that I wanted to get done for her. At least something by the end of this year.
Yeah.
So
that's dope.
I put the pressure on myself. She never put the pressure on me.
Gotcha.
She never felt like we need to get this done. You know, she would have waited till next year to get this done. And I was like, nah, fuck this. I'm like, let's get it. There'd be one less thing that we gotta, worry about or whatever. So yeah, I don't know. What about you, Spryte?
I already had the date set, so I already had everything locked down. So we had to like physically pick another exact date. Otherwise, because they weren't going to give us our money back. Even no matter what we said to them. So we had to pick that date. So kind of forced me into like picking another exact one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we lost a shit ton of money on that Tulum shit.
But I know a lot of guys that got screwed because venues were going out of business and they paid $20,000 for the venue
and they weren't getting no refund.
The place was just like, we're done. You get no money back. And they just like straight up lost their cash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's sad, man.
Well, congrats to you, Rell.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank you.
we're looking forward to yours.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not even
let's
in
do
his
it.
top 100, man. Relax.
He said, "Oh, you guys are invited."
Really? All right.
He said we're
Oh,
all
right.
invited.
All right, never mind.
Yeah, you guys are all, and for some reason, like nobody could travel because a lot of my family and stuff is back east. So I was like, we paid for this. So if nobody can travel,
I'll have 2 plates.
Everyone watching, you come on through. I got open bar for
everyone watching.
Come on through.
Do we got an access code to your wedding?
Don't disrespect our audience, right?
MikiDZ, Spryte.
It's like all 30 of you.
Dude, I paid for it, so I'm filling it up. I'm using
I
all
feel
100
you.
slots.
We'll raffle them off.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so let's get into what Spryte's been doing. You have been doing everything that the DJs aren't doing. Everyone's streaming and doing whatever they have to do to get by or survive, whatever you want to call it. And you've stepped away from streaming and you have your own business, your own side thing that you've been doing for many, many years. And would you say DJing has been more of a side hustle for you?
I definitely, it would probably be my secondary job. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, but it's crazy because you stay booked. Well, you were booked so much, it seemed like that was like the main source.
Well, it was just something. DJing was always something I loved to do. I didn't think it was going to be a revenue stream at all. And then when it became one to travel, I was like, this is amazing. And it was like I loved going out every weekend, making great money. But yeah, no, as of right now with this whole pandemic, I just kind of fell back on what I do during the day, which if people don't know, I do video editing and producing and writing and graphics for feature films and TV shows. So that's what I've been doing. But then I also do production, music production for film and TV as well. So on the music side, I've been doing a lot of that. So a lot of these places, they'll hire me to make I just made a Christmas album. So it'll be a whole bunch of generic Christmas music that commercials and promos can use in their spots. And if they place it, I get paid on it. So I've been doing a lot of that music-wise. But as far as DJing, you're right. I haven't done the Twitch. I tried the Instagram stream at the beginning, but
yeah, you did it once. I was in there.
I did it once. I don't really have a space. I need to move out of here, but I got the show with SiriusXM, the Stay Radio every Friday. So that's been kind of keeping me up on my staying current with music. Getting me excited about making mixes, just doing edits and all that. I still do the edits for DJcity and all that. So that's been keeping me, I guess, in the DJ side of things. But yeah, as far as Twitch and all that, I haven't really gotten into it. If I had a space, I probably would have.
Have you seen anybody's Twitch or have you is there anybody in particular that you keep going back to?
I follow most of the people because it's just interesting to watch. I was familiar with Twitch for a while because I was doing all the video game stuff with the kids under my other group, Made Monsters. So I was in that Twitch world for a very long time. And I know how great it can be and how much money those kids make if you get a following. But I pretty much followed all the DJs. The guy I probably watched the most would be 4Color Zach. Mm-hmm. Right. I think he really does it right. He does it like a lot of the gamers do. A lot of the people, when they're like, oh, I can't believe all these people are watching people play games. But all the best streamers that are doing the games are more like what he's doing, where it's a show. They have segments, and it's more about their personality and interaction than it is about them playing the game. The game is like a secondary afterthought. It's like music in the background. True, they're playing, and some people might look, but when they're streaming for 10 hours, it's more about the personality of the person, the segments, the content, as opposed to that game. And that's what Zach has kind of moved into the DJ world from what I've seen is. And have you guys seen his streams?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I mean, I haven't seen a lot of other people. I mean, most of the people that I've seen is just them kind of DJing with like some kind of background, but not much else. Just kind of playing, shouting out people in the chat room every once in a while, from what I've gathered. I mean, what's your take on it?
No, we were just talking about this, and I think Mickey hit it on the nail, saying it's more personality than it is dropping the coolest, craziest, set. Like it's not. I mean, unless you're a turntablist with that following, then people are going to tune in for that.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's the personality that keeps people there, and they feel like they're entertained. And then it kind of becomes like, well, if I'm a viewer, who else is in here? Because I want to be where all the other popular viewers are that get shouted out and drop subs and emotes and all that. So like I'm starting, and just talking to other Twitchers, I'm starting to see it's becoming more clickbait based, to where, the followers run with this circle of DJs. And if you're not in that circle, they're not going to take the time, to go check you out. And also the DJs are kind of starting to become cliquey, to where they only help each other out, which is fine. Like I'm not complaining. There's nothing wrong with it, but like everything else in an industry, that was going to happen.
In general? I mean, that's DJing in general. You know how it is here.
Yeah,
everyone's got their clicks in their circles.
Yeah. And again, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's an observation. And it's like, it's interesting to just see how things work out that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've definitely seen that. I've noticed it. But it seems like some of the people are doing pretty well. I've seen them on the front page of Twitch. I've seen like those whole like day long where they raid each other and then people just go, I mean, and it seems to work. And I guess I've talked to some of them. Some of them are making a good amount of like just extra money. I mean, if you're not, doing anything else, I guess it's a great source of income.
Yeah. Has any promoter, club owner reached out to you for some COVID bookings?
I've gotten some offers from Texas, because I mean, like Texas and Northern Florida seem to be like,
wide open.
We're just doing the damn thing.
COVID, what's that?
But I spoke with you, yesterday about this. The offers weren't that great, and I think a lot of these venues do know that, like where DJs just want to work, and especially if I was only a DJ and I had no other side things, I mean, I probably would have just jumped on it, even if it was a lower rate. But I passed because I'm hoping to try to hold rate or try to get back to what I was before at some point, when this is all over. But I have gotten some offers down in Texas. But at the time, it just wasn't worth it for the risk and the payment that was going on.
Yeah, you got to be careful, because like you have kids and you don't want to bring that home. And also in regards to pay, we're all kind of rolling the dice whether we say yes or no, because we don't know what's going to happen with rates in 2021. My biggest fear with that is there are going to be some shady bookers that are going to say, hey, do this for 500 and I'll get you 15 when everything's popping. And then they're not going to fulfill that promise, because there's like, shit, we're making so much money now. We're wide open. It's a lucrative situation because everyone wants to party and spend money on alcohol. Let me just continue to push this for 500 to all the DJs. And if this guy doesn't do it, I'm sure I can find 100 other DJs that'll do it for 500. And I think an important conversation we had was, how do you separate yourself from a branding standpoint from those guys that are going to do it for 500? And these are also guys that we're watching it happen now. again, there's nothing wrong with it. You got to put food on the table for families. You know, God bless you, do what you got to do. But the other guys, I would kind of like, I would be a little concerned about, because some of these guys were getting as much as we were getting before the pandemic. And now they're setting themselves up to only get 500 or 300 or whatever it is from here on out. Like, I don't know if they're going to get back to their $1,500, $2,000 rate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. The rates are going to be tough. I know exactly what's going to happen. Like you said, you're going to come back. There's going to be no shortage of DJs. So it really is going to be important to try to differentiate yourself somehow. But how is a very difficult question. But I have no doubt about it that you're going to get we've been shut down for a year, so can you just do it for this? And then we'll eventually give you this higher rate. But in my experience, that almost never happens. Yeah. It's very rare for a club to be like, you're just doing such a great job, I'm going to triple your rate. It's a very tough call. But then you also want to work as well. So I don't really know how I'm going to play it yet when it comes back.
If just to like play devil's advocate, right? Like give the other side. I agree with you that the odds are not in your favor when somebody tells you, I'm going to pay you this now, and then I'll pay you more later. My arguments, or not arguments, but I guess points to that is,
put it in ready.
If somebody is offering you that now, there's probably 9 out of 10 clubs that can't even offer you that. And so
agreed.
For them, you know what I mean? Like there's just, at the end of the day, nobody else is making an offer because they might not even be open or have that opportunity. And so I guess it's just one of those things where it's like risk reward, right? Spryte or myself, like included, I guess, in that conversation where DJing isn't the main source of income. Like, do we need the gig? No, we don't need the gig. In my case, I can step up and speak for myself, where I did take a gig in Fort Worth coming up right after Christmas. And I have some different elements than Spryte. I live by myself at home, so I can quarantine, no problems. And I kind of want to just get out of LA where I can't eat outside.
But another big element that you have is you have a relationship with that booker.
And my relationship with the venue is completely different than like some cold booking. So yeah, that's definitely a factor
and
too.
I think those are the guys that are going to win. The ones with the relationship with the bookers that have with the bookers that actually spend money because they know your worth. I think the relationships we have with those guys, we will be fine. You know, I know, Spryte, you have a ton of relationships with a lot of bookers.
And to give them credit, sorry, Spryte, to cut you off one last time, like to give them credit, like they paid me more than I thought I was going to get paid, because I'll be totally transparent. When they told me, hey, do you want to come do this booking? I trust them enough that when they're like, hey, do you want to do this booking? Right. I didn't even ask how much I was getting paid.
You just said, yeah.
I was just like, all right. Like,
yeah.
It's 2 gigs. It's this. And I don't even have to, I'm not even playing for that long because it's such a stacked grand opening week or a couple weeks that I was just like, whatever works for you guys, man. If my hotel's paid and I get to go hang out, with you guys safely, like, then cool, let's do it. And surely enough, when the contract came, I'm like, wow.
Works for me.
I respect that. Because I know when they're healthy, that's going to look different.
Yeah. No, I agree. Everyone's got to kind of just make their own decision based on whatever their circumstances are. I mean, everyone's going to be different, what their threshold is, what's worth it, what's not. But I also, like we were saying before, agree. I see also the business side from clubs. You're right. Some of these spots might not be able to pay, certain rates for certain DJs. So it will be interesting when it opens back up. I'm still, like I said, formulating how I'm going to approach it. But I don't know. I mean, how about you, Danger? What is your thoughts?
Do you guys think it's beneficial for DJs to have some sort of, like, in layman's term, like a union? So to bring up Joe's point that he was saying earlier, right? They offer you $500 to do it this time with the promise that they'll give you $1,500 the next time, right? And the next time comes around and they try to offer you that $500 again. Right, and you say no. You said that you were going to give me the $1,500. They're like, all right, cool. We don't want to give it to you. We'll go to the next DJ because he or she will probably do it for $500. Is it beneficial for us as a DJ community to be, if they go to this next person, they'd be like, nah, I'm not going to do it for that rate.
I think to perpetuate the game, that will be smart. But Spryte, you can probably answer this better because your buddy Red out in Texas did have a DJ union, correct? Or out in Houston?
Yeah, Texas. There's this group called the Booth Pimps down there. Like, and I was just amazed at what they did. They almost made a little Texas DJ union where they kind of locked down the residencies in Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, Houston, and they kind of put their own guys in there. And when someone couldn't do it, they subbed their guys. So they had the rate, they worked out the rate they were all okay with, and they pretty much just always plugged in the spots and put their people in. And it just worked great. And it wasn't just in Houston, it was all over Texas. And I was like, this is really impressive. And it did just what you were talking about.
And it eliminates like any type of undercutting or anything like that, any type of bad business and stuff like that. I mean, I get that it would be extremely hard to do it on a grander national level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if you getting booked in some shit in Boston, but then they try to book another DJ from New York to come do the same spot that you possibly turned down, how does that DJ know that you turned down, you know, the $500? You know what I'm saying? So I get how it would be hard to do that, but I'm just, you know, just throwing out the idea, like if that would be beneficial to have that kind of approach, because again, like Mickey was saying, the ball is in the booker, the club owners, the ball is in their court now.
Right.
Yep.
They can play that game. We're going to pay you $500 and promise you $1,500 the next time. Month comes later. Oh, yeah. And you know the club is bringing in money. You know the club is bringing in $20,000, $30,000, $50,000.
Yep.
They can easily pay you that $15,000 to $2,000 with no problem without breaking a sweat, but they still want to low budget you and pay that. They might bump you up to $750 if they're feeling good that weekend. You know what I'm saying? But it's still not your rate. So how do you go about it? You know what I mean? And I get it. So for example, right? Mickey and Spryte said DJing is not their number one priority income source. You know what I'm saying? For another DJs that may be their top priority, they'd be like, listen, you guys can turn down that $500, that $750. I need that shit.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So can you be mad at them for taking that if DJing is their main source of income?
Everybody's got a different situation.
Yeah, everyone has a damn situation. So I think that will play a huge role in making it harder to be making in that union and having a set rate for everybody.
Yeah, and I'll give you like an example on the business side too of what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying in regards to you know, like a club having a good night and still not really raising the money. Mm-hmm. The thing is, you don't know how many bad nights came before that.
Absolutely.
And you don't know how many bad nights are going to be in front of that. And so you have to average out to what your balances end up being, that, you know, even though it was a good night, I think if you, and this is part of like how I also negotiate my deals now, is like when I go to Texas, I'm probably going to bring a spender with me. He's going to fly out. He's going to spend some money.
Yeah.
Anything he spends, I want X amount on that.
But now
I'm bringing something that you didn't account for.
Exactly. So now you're a part of the reason why that club or that spot had a good night. Now, if the DJ doesn't play a role or has an impact on why should we pay you more money?
You're just pulling up and playing music. That's not what a DJ is anymore, unfortunately.
Absolutely, yeah. 100.
Either your name carries a support following, you know what I mean? Like, or you literally call people and tell them, yo, pull up, spend some money.
Yeah, it's going. 2021 is going to be a tough one.
That's such an interesting business approach, because I think there literally are only a few DJs that do that. They'll say, I'm bringing spenders to your out of state club. I want 10, 20% of that, or whatever it is. Only a few DJs can get away with that. But it makes sense for the DJ to get chipped off because he is bringing business. Unfortunately, for the most part, some of these bookers will tell you, look, I'm selling tables out regardless, so I don't care who you bring. Like, I mean, not to sound like a dick, but these tables are going to get sold. And then some are just going to be like, well, look, you're dope, but and I respect your rate. Let's say you're a $2,000 DJ and you're bringing 3 spenders. I respect your rate, but I can get another $2,000 DJ that's not going to hassle me, and I'll figure out a way to sell these tables.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I would love for that to evolve as we go, and maybe by the time we're done DJing, it'll be figured out. But Spryte, is that something you've ever done where you would tell the booker, so-and-so's coming and they only come for me? Can we work out a cut for myself?
I haven't personally done that, no. But I mean, I could there's definitely some DJs that I know could probably pull that off. I couldn't personally.
Yeah, but do you think if you applied, like pushing it, do you think you could?
Maybe, possibly. I mean, it just depends on the situation of the club. Like you said, some clubs are going to have that attitude, like you said, where we're full anyway. It doesn't matter. But there is clubs where I know genuinely that would be a big like selling point for yourself if you told them that. There's definitely, you remember how it was. A lot of the larger nightclubs were sort of on the decline towards the end of, before all this happened. So I know a lot of clubs where if I told them, hey, I'm going to book these 3 tables, in front of the booth if you book me, and they totally would have jumped on it.
Yeah.
Well, and the difference, like the type of venue, right? Like, based on just your history there, like, what somebody's going to spend.
Yeah.
Like somebody at, RIP Playhouse is going to spend X amount of money, but somebody at Avenue could end up spending X amount of money. And even though they're a block away, the dollar amount's going to look really different. And if I brought a table to Playhouse, they would have reacted differently than I'm trying to bring a table at Avenue.
Yeah.
Because can my people, whoever I end up bringing, like I'm only doing that if I'm coming in with someone who I think can aggressively do that, and or feel like I'm not getting paid my full worth, where I'm willing to communicate, hey, I'm down to devalue my quote unquote like rate, knowing that you guys are willing to take on the risk. If I bring somebody in, then you're paying me my full rate.
You know what the loophole is, and it's probably specifically in LA, is you're a DJ / promoter. If I'm DJ Butch, I don't know what he does, but he's a DJ / promoter, and I DJ on Fridays once a month at Playhouse, and I'm sending, and not only do I have buyers there, so I'll get a cut of that, and if I'm sending buyers to Avenue, I'm going to get a cut of that as well, because I have promoter in my name. And Spryte, you've been around forever in Hollywood, and you've seen DJs become promoters and vice versa. Promoters become DJs, and you see how, like, I don't know if you can pull that off in other cities, or, I mean, maybe no one's really tried it, but it seemed to be pretty popular in LA, because all of a sudden, I don't know when, 2011, 12, 13, somewhere around there are just a shitload of promoters that started DJing.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, in Hollywood, it was all about that. The more people you can bring, I mean, in Hollywood, they would start hiring, celebrities and celebrities' kids and stuff, just because of that whole, I can bring these people. But a lot of DJs did become promoters, and I would see them run up and down even Hollywood Boulevard and try to like grab people, and we'll bring you here and we'll bring you there. But the one thing about Hollywood is I think it's like a different animal than a lot of places.
For sure.
As far as with what you're talking about with what goes on in Hollywood with the clubs and the bottle service spots.
Yeah.
But what Mickey said, I do believe that the bottle service does hold weight, because there is clubs that have hired me back because they noticed, well, these 3 tables always come when you show up. So, this guy we book and nobody comes, but every time you show up, these 3 tables of people, fans from Facebook, whatever, will show up and buy tables. So they will rebook me because of that. So there definitely is a lot of worth if you can do that. But in Hollywood, it was a different animal, because it became it became more about being a promoter and the people as opposed to the music. There's been so many clubs I've been into where the music has been horrible, but then again, it doesn't really matter.
And
it's not about that.
And not only have promoters become DJs, but really, when you really think about the core of it, like go back to like a DJ Night Train story. He had to sell 15 tickets to earn his 15 minutes to DJ, like in Hollywood. And that was the start. So really, it's like the chicken and the egg. Like, what came first, the DJ or the promoter? Like,
that's true. Spryte, let me ask you this question. Especially for like a traveling DJ, when do you think DJs will get to the point where they are getting their normal rates? When do you think that will be? Especially more so for the traveling DJ than, obviously, like you said, Hollywood is a different animal.
I think there's two views I have on it, because we have so I'm with Sleeping Giant. We have a Friday Zoom every Friday. It's like a state of the industry. So the managers, the agents all come on and kind of talk about what's going on, what gigs, bookings, kind of the future of DJing. And they seem to think from these meetings that guys in our realm that are hovering around, whatever, the 1,000 to 2,000 mark, might actually, from their opinion, might actually do okay, because a lot of these bigger venues that were used to throwing a lot of money at people, like EDM DJs or other, we talked about Danger Zone, some people that were getting these big rates, where we might be in that sweet spot for these bigger clubs.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Where 1,500 might be like, oh yeah, we'll take him. He's a good DJ. The rate is right. Kind of undercutting those larger names that want 5, 10, 15, 20,000.
Got you.
But then there's a lot of venues I also do know where, it's probably going to be a ramp back up, and it's going to be a while. Because I think the first part of 2021 is probably going to be very similar to what we're in right now.
Yeah.
I don't think, until we have some kind of herd immunity or the vaccine is mass distributed, are all these spots just going to open the doors wide open. But yeah. I don't know.
I think with DJs, first you need to figure out, do you even want to spin at some of these venues? Because when we get back to it, I'm probably not going to want to spin at a lot of these venues. And that's not just like, I don't mean to sound like I'm thumbing my nose at anybody, but before we shut down, I kind of felt like I had to do some of these bookings, and I didn't really care to, but I felt like I had to. So now that we've taken a break, it's like, all right, I know what I want to do, and I'm going to go after that. And it's probably better that I do go after those top tier bookings and stick with them, because that just ultimately makes my brand look stronger. But you started to ask me, Spryte, what I would suggest, or what do I think about separating yourself as DJs. And it's simple, but it won't be easy. And my suggestion to our listeners will be, figure out a way to separate yourself, come up with a different marketing plan. If you look like everyone else and sound like everyone else, you're probably going to be thrown in that bundle of DJs. So there has to be something about your brand and the way you market yourself that takes you out of that, because the bookers that you want to book you are going to, if they see how your brand and how way you market yourself is just different, then they're going to say there is something different about this guy. He doesn't look and sound like everyone else. Let's see what happens. Let's give it a shot. So it's probably not going to be that easy, but I think the riskiest thing you can do is look and sound like everyone else. The easiest thing you can do is just be different. And then, so now it's like, okay, cool. I have a clear head. I don't have to look and sound like the biggest DJs, that top 40 DJs. Let me just focus on what I can do different. It's not going to be easy, but I think that applying yourself is simple.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's definitely about finding your lane and how to be different. That's the hard part, though. I mean, it's definitely, we could say that,
for sure. Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
No,
but it's worth the effort, because worst case, you end up in the pack with everybody else.
Agreed. Yeah, no, there's definitely a bunch of, DJs, especially from a booker's standpoint, that probably just fall into the same category where, like, I don't care, him, it's all the same to me. Just get a DJ in here. Yeah. So, yeah, right. Be yourself. Everyone else is taken. I heard that quote somewhere. I was like, tell us about the rates that we had a really fun conversation about the rates that existed when AM was alive compared to right before COVID, because what I'm trying to get to is $1,500 for a night pre-COVID was like pretty good, pretty decent, depending on who you were. It was definitely something you would take.
And we're talking about your average like 2 hour set, correct?
2 hour set, yeah. 1,500 headlining, fly you in, or maybe they don't fly you in, but they put you up in a room, they give you dinner. I think that's standard for that kind of rate.
And escorts.
Depending. So, different podcasts.
Their rate had to change too.
Different podcasts.
Oh yeah.
But you were saying 1,500 was on the low during the AM days, and like you guys were sitting around 3,000 for a booking.
Yeah, that wasn't uncommon at all. Like, I mean, there wasn't as many people traveling. I mean, AM definitely kicked all that off, and then I was lucky enough to get in pretty early on, thanks to Kevin Scott and all those guys. And those higher rates, like $3,000 was, easily, an average Saturday rate with travel, flights, hotel. They'd even give you like dinner money, or even some of the Vegas spots would give you casino money, where it'd be like $500 to like eat like wherever you want in the casino. And then
run that.
Yeah, then it started going just down and down and down. And like you were saying, $1,500 be kind of kind of became like the benchmark standard right before this COVID thing hit. But then even then I was arguing, well, we don't want to pay for the flight. We're just going to do landed. So just hotel. And then, and it started even getting with some spots. We're not even going to pick you up at the airport. Just Uber yourself,
Right.
Hey, you got it, right? You got it. Yeah.
Like,
just whenever you're ready, come in.
just send us a receipt. We'll expense it. You never get paid.
Never get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hospitality went out the window.
Stuff. The treatment was a lot different earlier on. So I'm talking like 2007, 2008. Like the treatment was a whole lot different. Like I felt like you were treated more as like an artist or a performer would come in now. Whereas like now a lot of spots, that's not the case. But you were talking before about, selecting the gigs or finding the gigs you want to work at. And that's, as I've gotten older, that's definitely become a priority to work with the gigs that treat me well. I bond with, I like to work with them. So I try to find those spots that I fit in with and, even the way that I'm treated. And those are the ones I go attack for like kind of residencies and like, okay, I want to be here. As opposed to, I don't chase as much like, oh, this is the new hottest spot in town. Like I need to be here. I definitely would find the spots that I would call home based on, a relationship. Like you were saying, the relationships you build and those people will have your back down the line. And those are the same people that'll probably have my back when this is over.
Right.
Yeah. And it's, if you're going to do that chasing game and play their game and they say, yeah, well, we'll get you more. And they don't, but they want to continue to book you. I think the best thing you can do is just not take the booking for a year. Let your brand evolve, sharpen things up, tying things up, and then put them in a position to reach out and say, hey, we want you back. Like, how can we make that happen? But don't distance yourself. Continue to talk to them and be cool with them, but just be like, hey, man, can't do that anymore. Like, I mean, there's a smoother way of doing it, but yeah.
No, sometimes saying no is a great approach.
Yeah.
We can't do this right now, or it's like kind of like I can't have you right now. But then it sometimes like subliminally adds value. Kind of like I can't get this shoe right now, Mickey, but but I can get it now for this. But it's gonna cost you more now.
Right.
Exactly. Spryte, let me ask you this. Now that we've been in this pandemic for 9 months, obviously DJing not being your bread and butter, and you've been away from it, spinning out for X amount of time. Do you think once we're open, you're going to be as into DJing as you were prior to this pandemic? Are you going to still be wanting, I don't want to say willing, but wanting to DJ just as much as you were as prior to the pandemic?
Absolutely. I love DJing. It's something I need to do. I want to do. I will, in some capacity, always be DJing. It doesn't matter how old. It's just something I love to do.
Dope.
How do you think the Twitch streamers will fare with bookings when we open back up? Do you think it'll make them more sought out, or do you think it's just going to go back to normal? Not normal, but what it was before COVID. Sorry.
I just don't know. I just honestly have no idea. Like the gauge of that. Like if promoters are watching that, or if they can, even if you told like a promoter, like, hey, so and so has 1,000 concurrents every Saturday on Twitch. I don't know if that's going to translate into a booking world, but I mean, it's definitely, those from looking at it from the video game side of things, if they build a strong following on Twitch, those people will still be there. And that would be a great, side source of income. Like you could play for them from 5 to 6 and then go play at night, even catch a quick flight over to like Vegas or San Francisco and play that night and almost like double dip and make extra money. I don't know if it's going to help them more with bookings, but you can keep rolling that on and on and on and on and keep building your following and make extra money, on the side.
You could argue it doesn't hurt, right? So then, ultimately, I'm hoping that it changes though how sets can be like kind of like subliminally pressured to be a certain way. Like I think Twitch and this whole pandemic kind of opened it up to letting more personality shine in a public forum than it did before.
Meaning like you think bookers are going to be open to more open format styles and clubs?
I feel like you could stop the music and ask a question
in a minute.
It was set now. And it wouldn't be looked at like you're crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know. Well, that could be
more interactive night experience.
Yeah.
I can see that. That actually.
When you think about it though, 4 Color Zach, when he was on the MikiDZ show with Craze, right? They did one together, no? Was I tripping? Did we do a 2 Cents one? Yeah, A-Track was there hanging out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a long time ago. We can't even remember what the hell the scenario was. But I remember them talking about specifically at a festival wanting to do sets where there were interactive memes and different, like literally what Zach is doing on Twitch, he's been wanting to do in a public forum, but maybe the world wasn't ready for it.
Sure.
Now, like it's tested.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Yeah. The only thing, if that were to be done in a club, let's kind of unpack this. If that was to be done in a club, then that's less dancing, right? But there's also not too much dancing going on. So.
Yeah, who's dancing now? They don't even make dance floors in
Michael
spots
Jordan,
anymore.
The Last Dance.
No, not in LA, but the clubs I was doing before we shut down, it was traditional.
Yeah.
Tables around and a good sized dance floor because general admission was still a part of the focus.
Look, never mind. I'm not gonna say too many jokes.
But all right, yeah. You guys have anything else to add to that conversation about potential rates and all that?
No.
Oh, I would say going back to you were talking about the music and being more open, like as far as like getting away with more stuff. I think that's actually could happen just because people haven't been out for so long. I feel like you probably could get away with a little more, music because people are just going to be happy to be out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's true.
No, Spryte, what were you saying about not changing your set? Like if you were to not change your set?
Oh, yeah. Because I mean, luckily, I guess I was saying before, I have the radio show to help me keep up on music, but I still feel like I could probably just open up the crate from March 15th.
Yep.
And I'd probably be okay.
Absolutely.
Just swap in body, take something
Just
else
throw in
out.
Megan, except Megan the set. Throw in some of those and you're good. Body, Savage, done.
We're
Killed it.
incriminating ourselves in here.
Hey man, you gotta do what works. You gotta serve the people.
We'll say that for next episode. No. Yeah.
Well, it depends. It depends on where you're DJing.
Yeah. I'm just
Because in LA, you can't just.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, not in LA. The spots I was
what
doing,
tracks
yeah.
would work and whatnot. But like I said, I'll save that for.
I'm not gonna say what radio show, but I've definitely just renamed something and moved it around. But submitted it for
Yeah,
ticket.
no, I absolutely 100. I absolutely
the guest mixes, right?
absolutely believe
Other
and agree with you 100%. Like we can go back until our early January, February sets that we've done. If they were to open the doors tomorrow or this weekend, we can go out there and do it, and they would fucking kill. Because just to Spryte's point, people would be so excited just to be outside.
They don't care.
They don't
what
give
you
a
play.
fuck what you play.
Yeah.
We don't give a shit. Like, play something. Let's drink. Let's turn up, and let's have a good time. We don't care. And then you'll hear a lot of this. I forgot about this.
Yeah.
So,
Rell, let me ask you this. You're from the East Coast. If you were to DJ in New York
yep.
and you had to pick one track to drop between Tell Me When to Go and Blow the Whistle, which one are you dropping?
I wouldn't do Blow the Whistle. I have
I
a story
wouldn't
about
do
that.
Blow the Whistle either.
Jay-Z's on that.
Jay-Z is on that, but I feel like Tell Me When to Go,
was a movement.
it was a movement, right? That I think a lot of East Coasters fucked with. I think it has a similar sound to the drill sound that's popping in New York right now. Kind of similar, fitting that. So I think I would go with the E40 track, to be honest with you.
Good choice.
Well, when you say it like that, I guess I'm a roll.
No, I would actually disagree. I would go with Blow the Whistle just in my experiences of how Blow the Whistle, what kind of reaction I get because the whole what's my favorite word, bitch. Like people look forward to saying that.
Here's the thing. The first time I played in Boston, I was excited to ask them what their favorite word was. But they looked at me like they had no fucking idea. They were just like,
They just left you hanging.
I was just like, what's my... And they just dropped the music and they were just staring at me. I'm
Like the
oh, okay.
socks. The socks. The socks.
I tell you what, I would assume, we're not East Coast DJs with the exception of Rell, who's born and raised out there. I would assume both tracks will be fillers. So
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
not looking
easily,
to get,
yeah.
you're not looking to see people ghost riding the whip
you're
per
not.
se.
Yeah, you're not playing that in your prime time shit. Like
I really feel like nobody's gonna tell you bitch, like at all. Like they just
Yeah.
like,
No, I feel like I dropped it in Boston and in Atlantic City or wherever else I spun out there. I feel like it's worked as a filler.
Yeah.
Or I probably
I don't see it going well. I don't see it going over well in Boston, but I think, like you said, Atlantic City, New York, like those areas, even DC, you know, the DMV, whatever. I can see you getting a response in them certain cities with Blow the Whistle. I don't know. I just think Boston is just kind of like Boston, LA. I know, granted that it's more the Bay, but they correlate Too Short with LA. Boston, they're like, "Why don't play this shit?"
Yeah,
I'm just trying to let Joe keep his residency out there. Stay off of Boston's neck.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, who do you guys think's gonna take it? E40 or Too Short?
This is so Spryte. Have you been keeping up with the verses that have been going on?
No, I've been meaning to, but I haven't.
All right, so I don't know if you know they have Too Short and E40,
20 tracks.
And if you haven't, BeatSource.com has playlists.
There you go.
BeatSource.com has all the verses playlists available.
Yep.
So sign up.
BeatSource.com. Make sure you sign up for that.
Stream.
So the next verses is E40 versus Too Short, and this I will have to say is the first verses that I have no idea who's going to win.
Let's just celebrate this one.
That's tough, man.
Yeah,
but so those guys, you have to really know their catalogs, and their catalogs were never like they were more regional per se than they were for the rest of the country. I would assume. Now, maybe there's guys in New York that kept up with all of Too Short's album and E40's album in the 90s. I was a big fan of Sprinkle Me and the Hurricane joint from E40, and then my brother had the Too Short albums. But when I think of like those guys and even Dog Pound and some of these groups or artists that we loved in LA, I just don't know unless they were a Snoop or Dre or even an Exhibit, I don't know if they really got out that far. But I could just be a stupid LA DJ who doesn't know anything. So
no, I will admit that. I mean, me personally, people that I grew up with, like we weren't, like you said, outside of like your Snoops, your Dre's, obviously your Tupacs or whatever. Cats in the Bay, like Too Shorts, Mac Dre, E40, all those guys, like they weren't outside of like the quote unquote hits that were obvious.
Yeah,
they were like I didn't know much about their catalog until I got older.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I knew their shit front to back like I would know like a Jay-Z or a Nas or even like a Common or someone like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's just like you said, if you're not if you don't know their catalogs and you ever followed their careers, a lot of people are not gonna have an opinion on who's gonna win or not.
I think with the exception of DJs, the people that just love hip hop kind of leave this alone because they probably didn't grow up listening to these guys, or again, the Dog Pound or South Central Cartel or any of those, but I can name off, maybe not right now, but I can name off some more regional New York guys because in LA we kind of listen to everything. I just don't know if those guys I just named from the West were digested out in the East, because to my knowledge, sometimes the East Coast guys will look at us and be like, respect, but I don't get it. It's not for me, which is understandable. But yeah, I don't know who's going to take this. I just hope people learn something new and appreciate it.
I don't think it's going to get the respect it deserves. And when I say the respect, I mean the numbers. Yeah. As far as like who's going to be tuned in, the amount of people that are going to be tuned in.
Who tunes in? It's a lot of people that like Southern hip hop and East Coast hip hop.
Yeah.
There's only been one West Coast artist in verses so far. It's been Snoop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they're going where the people are in regards to who's the viewership.
Yeah.
Which is understandable, but
and where people are allowed.
What do you mean?
Atlanta.
Yeah. Yeah. True. So are they gonna put them in the same room? Are they gonna do it? Are they gonna put them in?
I would assume
in Oakland?
So.
Brandy's from where?
From LA.
She's from LA.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
But Monica from Atlanta.
But I don't think LA when I think Brandy, I would think LA for Snoop before I would think LA for Brandy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
You gotta,
she holds it down. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I just think bigger for Brandy. I think countrywide than
Oh, nice
in
save.
LA. Playing it safe?
No, it's a nice save
For who though? What am I saving myself from?
from
Ray
The
J.
backlash from Ray J and Brandy?
Ray J
Damn
gonna kill you.
Dre Sinatra, I'm like, yo, I don't that's my big sis. That's big sis. No, I'm if anything, I'm speaking more to her legend by saying she's bigger than LA.
Mickey and Sean, do you guys have an opinion about who you guys think will win this one?
I'm gonna just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think it's just one of them joints you vibe out with. For
Yeah.
sure.
I think you just really have to know their catalogs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
call it.
I don't know who's going to win, but hyphy is some of the funnest music to play
Bro,
if you're
right.
in Northern California
Yo.
or like Northern Nevada. It's amazing.
The hyphy movement was crazy, man.
I
Insane.
just feel like it's partying versus fucking. You know?
No, versus pimping.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Too Short was a real pimp.
Real pimp.
Real.
Still is out here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tell you what, man, if
I've
you've
seen
been
it
to a club,
firsthand.
if you've been to a club in LA,
You seen Too
you will
Short?
see Too Short, probably not at a table. More times than none, I've seen him in the middle of a dance floor
Yeah.
with a random girl,
Just floating around.
just floating around. Unbelievable. you don't see that
Nice.
every weekend.
That's hilarious.
Cool.
Yeah, so all right, we're good there. And this is actually part 1 with our guy DJ Spryte. He's gonna stick around and give us episode 78, where we have our list, kind of year 2020 roundup list.
Yeah, our end of the year. We getting 2020 the fuck up out of here.
Yeah, we're sending it off. But before we get out of here, we have Spryte. Actually, who's next on your? This will air Monday. So who do you have coming up? Oh, it's just you and you, right, for your globalization set?
You talking about for Christmas?
Yeah, because yours falls on
my
Christmas.
show. So I'm every Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, my show falls on Christmas Day and New Year's Day the next 2
Nice.
weeks. So I'm doing Hollis Day. I'm doing it right now. It's gonna be all like flipped holiday music.
Dope.
Figure I just let it rock because I mean, who knows? It's Christmas. I don't know how many people are gonna be listening, but I'll have fun with it.
Yeah. Okay. So you got you for the next few episodes of Stay Radio.
Yeah, I'll probably do like the best of for New Year's, just like the best tracks of the year
There you
that I
go.
put on the show, kind of mix them all together.
And we have DJ Karma from Vegas coming up.
Nice.
I'll be rocking with him. And shout out to Q from Vegas, of course. Did
Love
a great
Q.
job. And yeah, so
Cheers to Q, my wine.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Why
It's
not?
a Chateau Bud Light, the finest grapes from St.
Chateau
Louis.
Bud Light.
This wine's for you.
Yeah. All right,
Wait,
so
I'll make it sophisticated. Hold on, we'll put some glasses on.
there you go.
Oh,
Next
wow.
episode. There you go. Next
Now-
now,
now-
getting a sneak
Ladies and
peek
gentlemen,
of
now we
Sprite.
have Christopher.
There we go.
Christopher Roberts is in the building.
Classy here.
Corporate Chris.
There it is.
There's nothing more corporate than 2 first names.
Yeah. Shout out to Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, so all right, well, stick around, Sprite, and we're gonna get out of here for this episode.